Welcome to episode number 212, where I'm speaking with Dr. Jayarajan Kodikanath of Kerala Ayurveda, US, about Candida. We talk about Ayurveda's view on Candida and how to treat it with a diet and lifestyle and spices. And we also clear up a lot of those myths about Candida. So please stay tuned. Welcome to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm your host, Colette, and I hope to educate and empower you to take charge of your health and well-being, preventing disease in the body and mind so that you can thrive in life. I will be sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, which is the ancient healing tradition from India. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend listening to the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. And if you like the content, please be sure to subscribe or follow the podcast so the new episodes will automatically download for you. Also, you may want to check out my private Elements community, which is away from social media. It's a safe space for like-minded people to come together, to connect, to share, to support each other, and to continue the conversation from the podcast episodes. Check out the link in the show notes or visit my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and just click on the community tab. And I hope to connect with you there. Thanks for listening. And now here's a new episode. Hello and welcome back to the Elements of Ayurveda podcast. I'm very happy to welcome back Vidya Jayarajan Kodikanath to the podcast. He is a visionary, a classical trained Ayurveda doctor, and an accomplished teacher representing a lineage of Ayurveda practitioners from Kerala, India. He is CEO of Kerala Ayurveda USA and is president of NAMA, the National Ayurveda Medical Association in the US, with a mission to make Ayurveda as a credible profession in the Western world. He has worked as the Chief Medical Officer at an internationally acclaimed Ayurveda resort at Bangalore, India, called Ayurvedagram for more than 10 years before moving to America. Dr. Jay, welcome back to the podcast. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, Colette. Always, nice to be here. And thank you for sharing Ayurveda with the world with such a passion.
Oh, thank you. It's absolutely my pleasure. And I am learning lots along the way and looking forward to this conversation today. We're going to discuss Candida. And this is something that comes up again and again. Unfortunately, it's very common in our world today. And I'd like to start, Dr. J, by asking you, could you explain to the audience what exactly is Candida?
Okay. I know it is, it is getting more common.
Yeah.
And we also get a lot of inquiries about Candida, and it's very important that people understand what exactly it is. So Candida is a fungal infection, right? Funguses are like the mold, the mold, and it can affect various parts of our body. And like the normal mold, it needs certain very specific congenial situation to grow. And wherever it grows, it will cause the decay of the tissue on which it feeds on. That will become another fertile, space for that to grow further. So it grow, decay the surrounding, and that became the feed, then spreads it. So it's a mold spreading through, various surfaces. It can be the mucous membrane, it can be the skin, the nail, or the oral cavity, like that. And vaginal Candida is very common.
Yeah.
So it's an yeast infection. It's a fungal infection.
Okay. And you mentioned there that it needs certain conditions to grow, ideal conditions to grow. What are those conditions?
It's very simple. If there is no moisture, no mold. Moisture is the fundamental requirement for any fungus to grow.
Yeah.
So that is one. So even on the skin or the nail, when people get, the fungal infection, keeping that area dry is not allowing the fungus to grow. So one is moisture. Second, see, Colette, bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoa, it is there everywhere.
Yeah.
Within our body, outside our body, everywhere. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is an ecosystem balance of the entire microbiome. And when that balance is disrupted, then that will become a space for this pathogenic organism to grow, whether it is pathogenic bacteria or virus or fungus. So in Candida's case also, when there is a disruption in the environment within the body, that is where the Candida grows more. That could be one, compromised the immune system. Very common, situation.
Mm-hmm.
When your immune system, your resistant system is getting weak, all pathogenic organism will be more active. Okay.
Mm.
So until then, all these organisms can still be with you, but they will just stay outside. They cannot invade your system because your body's resistance against them are much stronger than their virulence or their, severity.
Mm.
But when the immune system is getting weak, that could be due to disease, that could be due to those who are taking steroids or immunosuppressants. And, in any immune compromised situations, there is a very higher chance of Candida growth. That could be, in any mucous membrane on the skin. So low immune system, moisture, and this can come as a secondary infection. For example, if there is a viral infection, that viral infection causes inflammation and decay of some of the membranes and the tissue. And that decayed tissue will become a very fertile space for the Candida to grow.
Mm.
Okay. These are the common situations where Candida develops.
Very good. So essentially, just like mold will grow in a home in a damp room,
Exactly.
It's similar to our body. Right.
Yep.
And what's Ayurveda's view on Candida and its causes as well? Is there a correlation between that and a compromised digestive system?
Yep. So Ayurveda, generally all the fungal infection, one of the characteristics is itching.
Yeah.
Whether it is the fungal infection on the skin or nail or vagina, any membrane, very common symptom is itching. So that is why many a time, whether even inside the ear, if there is fungal infection, we call it as kandu. Kandu in Sanskrit means itching.
Mm.
And that is generally related to, the Candida. So that is one information. Second, Ayurveda is very clear about every infection. We always say, in place of chasing the fungus or chasing the bacteria, let us chase the individual. Because fundamentally, the individual is the healer.
Mm.
The individual has all the ability to resist any pathogenic organism. And strengthening that immune system is the key in managing the Candida.
Mm-hmm.
So it is all about how vulnerable our system is, how weak our system is. So that is not only in the Candida, but in every infection. Ayurveda's approach is to look at the individual and strengthen the individual, because you cannot get rid of fungus and bacteria from within your body or outside your body. The only possibility is to strengthen the individual to resist any pathogenic organism's activity on our body, including Candida.
Mm. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how candida may manifest?
One common expression is itching.
Mm-hmm.
In the candida infection, there are different stages. Accordingly, you may be able to relate to specific dosha state of that particular infection.
Mm.
For example, whenever there is itching and mucousy discharge, mucousy discharge, the stickiness, etc., that is, we can consider it as a kapha stage of the candida.
Right.
And it's very common, that kind of a state. Itching, sticky, mucousy secretions. Then comes to the next, when there is irritation, the tissue will be damaged, and there can be a little bit of an elevated temperature. There can be a little bit foul smelling. And the mucousy discharge will become like a greenish or reddish brown, that kind of or yellowish discoloration. That is more of in a pitta associated stage of it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the vata stage, it is more of a degenerative stage. Since vata is associated with more dryness, in any disorder, first is stagnation, then the inflammation, then the degeneration. So the degenerative stage of candida, we can say it's a vata stage. That is in a normal situation, it creates more dryness, whether it is oral dryness, vaginal dryness, or skin dryness, etc. Then that dryness means already the mucous membrane is damaged. That will become the reason for the next round of infection over a period of time. So in people, it can recur repeatedly. It can come if it is not managed properly. And, also I need to tell you this because I had this practical experience that many of the cases which they think they are having yeast infection or candida is not candida. And in last, 3-4 years, I have seen, whether it is social media or many in the various media platforms, there has been an effort of creating concern. It's generally seen in this commercial world when people make you a little bit scared or concerned, and you look for what to do, and there will be a lot of product available for that.
Yes.
So the same way I have seen many posts, they will show that this, kind of a creature crawling and visuals, right? Okay. And ask some common questions. Are you feeling tired in the afternoon? Are you feeling slightly sluggish and heavy? Some common questions, so that when you read that, everybody thinks, oh, I think I have candida.
Yes.
Okay. So, but, if it is candida, there are very specific expressions. Sometimes some of the symptoms, I'll tell you a story. When I was in Seattle, Washington, we had an integrative clinic where a few naturopathy physicians, acupuncturists, yoga practitioner, myself, in one setting. So one of my naturopathy doctors, came to me saying that, hey, I have a difficult case. I need your guidance on this. So when I checked, there is a candida case, an yeast infection case. It's a vaginal yeast infection. And she told me I have a case with the yeast infection. And I tried all naturopathy, even whatever you taught me about Ayurvedic herbs, but it is not going away. First, I asked, who told it is a candida or yeast infection? So she mentioned that she came with a medical, from the gynecologist itself. It is. So is there any evidence or any analysis done? Then she told me, since she came with the diagnosis, I just, gone ahead with it. So I told her, let us forget about candida. Because if you have an imbalance in your body secretion itself can be irritating for you without candida. Okay. How your own acid causing heartburn and acidity, because it is deranged. It is deranged. That is why. How your own urine causing burning, because it became more acidic. That means a change in our own physiology, in our own balance, can cause, itching. When there is kapha aggravation in mucus lining, without candida itself, there can be itching. There can be burning secretions. There can be different symptoms. So let us forget about candida. Let us don't chase candida in that lady. Let us go ahead with an Ayurvedic approach of looking at with a very objective way. We discussed, we created protocol, and the person felt relief in 4 to 6 weeks. She was having this so-called yeast infection for more than a year, tried with modern medicine, then came to my naturopath, and she tried for 3 months. So many a time, this is also another very important information. It is all about assessing the individual rather than coming to conclusion by just looking at symptoms. Okay.
Yeah, that's very true. And candida, as you said, has been almost trending the past few years, and it's really become popular out there in social media. And so what is the difference between a yeast infection and candida? They're both
Actually,
yeast
they're
infections.
synonymous because it is two names of the same problem, yeast infection or candidiasis. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same condition. It's not different.
And when you say candidiasis, is there inflammation involved then when it's...
Of course. Every pathogen, the first step of attacking our body is through inflammation.
Yeah.
They release their own toxicity. That toxicity creates the crisis in our body. Our body reacts. Our body's reaction to any crisis is inflammation. Every infection has inflammation, whether it is candida or bacteria or virus.
And so in Ayurveda's treatment of candida and yeast infections, because a certain amount, they're naturally occurring in our body, right? And as you said,
naturally there.
Right. And so we need a certain amount of these yeasts in our body.
Yes.
And so it's when the balance is lost, and then
it's all about balance, Colette.
Right.
It's all about balance. As I mentioned, bacteria, virus, fungus, it is there inside our body and outside our body. When it is in that harmony, that amount not exceeding into a pathological state, they are fine, right? There is no problem. And the Ayurvedic approach of their management is very simple, but very comprehensive. So there are 3 things we do for any infections. That is true in the case of candida or the yeast infection also. One is, we call it as, Vyadhik Shamatvam. That means enhancing your resistance against any pathogenic action. That's the first step. Second step, we call it as Prakriti Vikadam. Making your body incongenial for any pathological organism to flourish. Okay. So changing the environment within your body where the candida cannot thrive or sustain. Okay. Creating an incongenial, environment within your body. That is the second one. And the third one is acting against the organism. These are the primary 3 approach to managing any infection, especially this candida. Okay. So one is enhancing your immune resistance so that the candida will not be able to do anything on your body. And the second is making our body unhospitable for the candida. Because it needs certain, environment. For example, if you are not keeping your nail and your skin wet, or when you keep it dry, candida cannot grow. So you are making that environment unhospitable. And the third is, there are herbs and formulations that is against the candida, right? To get rid of them. So these are the primary 3 approach.
when you say enhancing resistance, are you looking at their diet and lifestyle then first?
Of course, in every condition,
Yes.
we look at, since Ayurveda's approach is, while all the diseases are happening within the mind-body system of an individual, and also the healing mechanisms are within the individual, empowering, enhancing, supporting the individual is the first step in managing any disease. So we definitely provide diet and lifestyle guidance to the people on this. And when it comes to Candida, how we guide people are, if they say that, hey, I have fungal infection on my nail or skin, we always say that keep it dry. After taking a shower or, whenever it is getting wet, make sure that you are wiping it dry, keeping it dry and clean. Okay. Regarding the diet, few important things. Anything that creates ama, anything that creates sticky sediments or more the secretion, sticky secretions and the extra mucus is a very congenial situation for Candida to grow. So we say that better not to take too much of sweet items, especially the white sugar.
Yeah.
Okay. And, but I want to tell you this, there is an extreme measure people take in this modern world. They think that they can starve the Candida. And, there is one approach, extreme approach, which Ayurveda is not believing in, is they stop all carbs and all sugars and etc.
Yes.
With an idea that for Candida need the sugar to grow, and you are making sugar, no sugar, so that the Candida dies. It's only a mental visualization. It won't happen in that way. It is not only the Candida, even your own cell needs sugars, the glucose, to survive. So there is no situation where you are, removing all the sugar and the Candida dies. That is only a mental visualization. It is not true. But we can reduce the white sugar and the processed items where we can avoid that additional, supportive environment that may be created by eating a lot of, the processed sugars and heavy to digest items. Anything creates ama can support the proliferation of pathogenic organisms, including Candida.
Very good. And I'm glad you brought that point. That's what I wanted to get to, was this total elimination, as you said, trying to starve this total elimination of sugar is very dangerous. Of course, highly processed, refined and foods and refined sugars are good to limit in the diet, but in regards eliminating all carbs, which and glucose, which you need for energy to survive day to day, is quite dangerous. And there is, I talk to a lot of people who are eliminating all fruit from their diet, for example. That's another common myth that's out there.
Exactly. It is totally against what they are supposed to do. They have to have fresh, good fruits and a lot of vegetables and, the enzymes and the various, the nutrients within the fruits, etc., can enhance your innate vitality better to resist to all these pathogens. So getting rid of, or completely stopping carbohydrate, etc., is not right, because you are going to weaken yourself. That weakness will become a supportive environment for the Candida to grow. So better not to go in that route. Excess sweet can be reduced. Processed item can be reduced. More balanced food is important. And
then you talked about changing the environment. So as Ayurveda always teaches us to look at the root and the digestive system being a big source for the root cause of disease. Can you talk a little bit about that in relation to Candida, please?
Definitely. What happens generally is our own imbalances creates an internal inflammation or weakness in our the protective linings. And that inflammation, that, weakness became the reason for the candida to grow. For example, in vaginal infection cases, in certain menstrual disorders, creates the pH difference, the acid-base balance difference. That causes irritation and the damage of the lining. That in turn will become the very supportive space for the candida to grow.
Yeah.
So what we usually say is, one is cut down the sour items, because sour as a taste is, one, it is heating. Second, it creates slimy secretions. Sour as a general taste. So, and also sour increases the acidic environment.
Yeah.
More acidic the secretion, the more damage to the lining of whether it is urine, whether it is, any secretion. So that is one, what we do. If it is external skin or nail where the fungus or yeast grows, we can keep it dry, but you cannot keep your throat dry to avoid thrush, or the vagina dry to avoid candida in vagina, because it is naturally mucous membrane. You cannot keep it dry.
Yeah.
Making it dry is not a good idea.
Exactly.
So then what we do is we ask them to do certain kind of a rinse or a douche or irrigation with certain simple herbs and formulations that can create an atmosphere where these kind of organisms are not able to thrive. For example, light triphala decoction. It's a good idea for any of these kind of microorganisms. Triphala tea as a local application is known. And there is another combination of herbs mentioned in one of the ancient texts, Ashtanga Hridayam. It is Aragvathadi. Aragvathadi is a combination of herbs that is found to be very good for working, against various pathogenic organisms, including the candida, which causes itching. Okay. That is also very helpful. And the third is neem. Okay. Neem. The neem bark, making a light decoction. And those types are very good.
Okay.
Another most common thing and easy to do is there is an oil, Colette, called Murivenna. Murivenna. The primary use of that, traditionally, Muriva means injury. We use it for healing the injuries, use it for all type of injuries, fractures, etc. But it has a tremendous effect on resisting or preventing, the fungal growth. And even those who are having active candida or fungal growth in mucous lining, that could be, skin or nail or vaginal, any mucous membrane, it can be applied to change the environment where the candida will not be able to grow.
And when, I just want to note as well, when you say, a douche or irrigation in the case of a yeast infection, that these are not off the counter, products that have artificial ingredients in them, that this should be done on the direction of an Ayurvedic practitioner or doctor. Okay.
Many a time, any when it reaches to a disease situation, you should get guidance, because everything need to be personalized.
Exactly.
Ayurveda is a holistic science, good for humans and animals and every beings. But at the same time, Ayurveda is a highly, personal or individualized, customized system of healing.
And I'm thinking of questions people will ask. The sour taste. If you could give some examples of that, it would be like yogurt would be a sour taste. Exactly.
Yogurt is an example. Vinegars is an example. Tamarind is an example. Sour, sweet, as we discussed, it is another support for more mucus, etc. At the same time, the second taste is the sour, because sour naturally has a tendency to create slimy secretion. Any itchy condition, we say that better to cut down sour. Whether it is any, it need not be even candida. Any itchy conditions, generally sour items are restricted.
Very good. And as we mentioned earlier, lifestyle is very important as well in regards management of candida and making sure that you're having general exercise and not leading a sedentary life.
Yeah, a few most important points I will mention. One is, as you rightly mentioned, sedentary life, right? So some regular yoga, exercise, etc., can enhance the circulation. When the circulation is better, your defense mechanism is at the best because it reaches everywhere. Your microcirculation enhances, and that is one. Second, exercise itself tones up the system. That in turn enhances your overall vitality. Second is avoiding daytime sleep. It's a very important suggestion from Ayurveda, because Ayurveda consider when you sleep during daytime, the human system is expecting us to be active during daytime and sleeping at night. When you change that and sleep during daytime, it increases the chance of kapha accumulation and sluggishness and ama formation. More sticky secretions. Okay. Then the third is avoiding, items like alcohol, or making it minimal. Because those who are taking alcohol regularly, more quantity, they are more prone to candida. There are some studies also about that. So that is another part of it. And the fourth is, a good hygiene, right? Good hygienic measures and, general cleanliness, and these are the most important tips on the overall lifestyle.
Great. And I can imagine alcohol being a big problem because it does have lots of alcohol has that sour taste and it's very high in sugar as well.
Exactly. And also it is acidic.
And you mentioned napping, which is, a great one to mention. And I guess particularly after eating, which is a lot of times when people might take a nap in the afternoon after a lunch, that could lead to undigested food or ama, which is probably a fertile breeding ground for yeast.
Correct. Yeah. Daytime sleep is definitely not only for candida, but metabolic disorders, right?
Yeah.
Gaining weight, one of the three reasons mentioned for slow metabolism or metabolic disorder is daytime sleep, then sedentary life, then overeating. These three are the master reasons for even metabolic sluggishness.
It's a good reminder as we go into holiday season. And talking about this festive holiday season, which there can be a tendency to overeat, and then that results in napping. The importance of regular cleansing in Ayurveda, and particularly, making sure that the digestive fire, the Agni, is working efficiently. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it is when the Agni is weak that these can cause a lot of these issues in the body.
Very good. Yes. Because good Agni or balanced digestion and metabolism means you have proper digestion, proper assimilation, proper nourishment, and the balanced nourishment is the ojas, which is synonymous to your vitality, your immune resistance, right? So whenever your digestion getting weak, that means you are not transforming the food completely into nutrients. That incompletely transformed material is called ama. Even after the nutrients are getting absorbed, if that is not getting metabolized properly, that will also become ama. And ama, since it is not completely transformed into a usable state, body will not be able to use it. It will stay as unused material that will become a breeding ground for many of the pathogens and leading to various health problems. So keeping up good digestion is important. How to keep up good digestion? Eating in the right time, eating the right combination based on the individual's constitution and situation, and eating properly in a moderate way, avoiding overeating. Then incorporating the digestive spices in the diet. Especially, I have some suggestion about the dietary spices with respect to the candida management or prevention of candida. One of the most important herb is turmeric. Okay? Because turmeric is a herb considered as great for supporting the immune resistance and also to relieve the skin or the mucus lining condition which causes itching. Incorporating turmeric in the diet, it's a good idea to work against the candida. Then other spices also are good, whether it is ginger or coriander seed or fennel, cardamom, garlic, for example. Since it is many a time itching, kapha related, that is a more tendency. Some garlic in the food, asafoetida, hingu in the food. These normal spices found to be supportive. One, to enhance the digestion, enhance the metabolism, and keeping up our skin and mucus lining more healthier.
Wonderful. That's great tips there. And it's the amazing healing power of spices. And I also wanted to just clarify something with you, Dr. J. Turmeric. How much do you recommend per day? Because we do have this concept in the West, more is better.
I know. Especially when a research confirms or somebody says this is good for you. Yeah. I always tell my students these days, I'm a little bit reluctant to say something is good these days.
Yes.
Because you will automatically go overboard.
That's why I like to give, especially in regards to turmeric, because
exactly.
Yeah, people will be using it in everything, and it too much like anything can be harmful.
Yeah. People think when you do more, you get more. But Ayurveda says when you do optimal, you will get the best.
Yes.
More is also not good. Less is also not good.
Yes, indeed.
So turmeric, turmeric is not something you keep on taking tablespoon a day. It is very drying and very intense, actually. Mm-hmm. It is tikshnam, ruksham, and ushnam. It is not cooling. It is heating. And so what we usually do is maybe a quarter teaspoon, right? Mm-hmm. There are, these days it is getting popular about the golden milk. Have you heard about that?
Yes,
Colette?
Indeed. Yes.
Golden milk. Yeah. It is available. Even at Kerala, it is available. That is having maybe a quarter teaspoon or slightly less. We won't suggest more than half a teaspoon a day in overall. That also, if you're taking that much, take it in a medium, which is also balancing that the drying nature of the turmeric. Something like a good quality milk or, any that kind of a medium will help to reduce that, the sharp, hot, drying property of turmeric.
That's a great point. And then you could also balance with spices. Very good point. To balance it out. And thank you for making that recommendation of how much to have per day, because that is really important. So as we finish up here, Dr. J, is there any other advice to people? I guess we want to make sure, I think as well, that when people have these symptoms, there's a lot of over-the-counter products that people can take, but it's just masking the symptoms of these conditions. And I think it's important to address that, because even though you mask them, the problem is still there, right?
Exactly. My few tips are important. One, first of all, don't come to conclusion by looking at one symptom, because one symptom can be of various reasons. And an individual, looking at the internet or asking the friend, they may not be able to figure it out. So whenever there is a symptom, approach a professional of Ayurveda and make sure, able to identify from where the symptom is coming, right? For example, your own imbalanced secretion causes itching, candida causing itching, how to identify an individual may not be able to identify, and better not to come to conclusions on your own and go ahead with all this over-the-counter things. Many of the external applications available over-the-counter for candida are very corrosive in nature. It damages the mucous membrane. So better not to mask the symptom, as you rightly mentioned, Colette. Better to approach an Ayurvedic professional, get a consultation, and get a guidance based on the individual's constitution and the situation. So that's the first. Don't come to your own conclusion and start working on it, because health is very important. A symptom can be of a very minor reason. The same symptom can be of a major reason. So identifying that rightly is the key. Second is, always remember that you have the innate healing capacity. Taking care of yourself through the good food lifestyle practices is the key in resisting candida, as well as to support your body to get rid of candida over a period of time. Tip number 3, stress is the major problem in the whole world in 2021, and maybe moving forward also, because the situation is not changing. Yeah. The demand on our life, in any role you take in this life, the stress management is a very important aspect, because many a time we are very, very keen about eating organic or, doing our dinacharya, daily regimen, and exercise. These are all everybody knows and everybody take care of it. But what we forget about is about our influence of our mind on our immune system and our health. You can have all organic food and do everything, but if your mind is under a lot of stress, especially emotions like the fear, uncertainty, insecurity, sadness or grief, this naturally causes depletion, weakness, and reduction in the ojas. Then other two emotions are anger and frustrations, other pitta promoting or aggravating emotions. So even though candida is a bodily imbalance or a problem, the influence of mind, or keeping the mind in the right frame, is so important. So managing mind is very important in candida also. So that's it. Having good food, timely food, sleeping well, lack of sleep or very late to sleep are considered as the highest stress a human body can have. I'm going to repeat this again. The lack of sleep or late nights are the highest stress a human body can have. So keeping a balanced sleep routine can really support in keeping up good health and good immune system.
And like you said, if we bring our body into the right balanced environment, the body will heal itself.
That's right.
And
the healer is within you.
Yes. And the stress is something we all have to be aware of nowadays, and really managing that and making that a priority to manage our stress.
I see a lot of cases, Colette, health conscious people following everything. And they wonder, I'm following everything. Why am I still getting the problem? Because they don't realize the impact of mind on their immune system, their gut health, their metabolism, and their overall, balance.
So true. Great. Well, Dr. J, thank you so much for all this information. I'm really happy we had this conversation, because I talk about candida with people a lot, and I think we got to clear up a lot of myths today, which is very helpful. And before I let you go, you mentioned earlier about some of the products that Kerala Ayurveda has, but I'd like to ask you to tell us a little bit about Kerala Ayurveda Academy. I know you have some new programs, lots of growth happening with Kerala Ayurveda. If you could share
Definitely.
some of the information with us, it'd be great.
Yes. Kerala Ayurveda as an institution established in 1945 in the root place of Ayurveda, Kerala. We are a mission-based institution. Our mission is to share the knowledge of Ayurveda across the globe, helping Ayurveda to reach every nook and corner of the world. That is one of our mission. The second is creating capable and confident Ayurvedic professionals across the globe to serve the communities. And we have been, as I mentioned, this is our passion, this is our mission. And we have been getting very good response. I have a lot of passionate students across the globe. And we have been creating more and more programs to deepen their knowledge further. Certification programs. We have Ayurvedic Health Counselor program. There is a new program called Ayurvedic Health, Holistic Ayurvedic Coach, which is a 300-hour program we just launched in fall. It's a 6-month program. Then Ayurvedic Health Counselor, it's a 1-year program. After that, Ayurvedic Practitioner, the clinicians of Ayurveda. After that, Ayurvedic Doctor, after the Practitioner program, 2.5 years, Ayurvedic Doctor program. Then we have Panchakarma Technician Training Program. These are all the certification program. I do also conduct various master workshops where formulation making or Ayurvedic assessment and pulse diagnosis. So a lot of education programs are going on. And we just, launched our program in the Europe. Yes. Norway is our, the anchoring place for our Europe program, and doing well, a lot of enrollments. Excellent. And we want to make sure that the root knowledge of Ayurveda is shared as is, without dilution, without modification, because, it is a very comprehensive repertoire of knowledge that need to be shared with the world. Then, of course, to add value to the practice of Ayurvedic professionals and to provide the authentic, efficacious herbs and formulations and product. Kerala Ayurveda also brings a lot of natural Ayurvedic supplements in the form of oils and external applications, internal herbs. A lot of lifestyle product we added recently, including the cultured organic ghee or the natural wild honey, or, as I mentioned, the golden milk. Lot of Amalaki Rasayanam, one of the most authentic Rasayanas available in Ayurveda from ancient Ashtanga Hridayam. So we are keep on trying to support all what Kerala can offer.
Wonderful. Well, it's wonderful to see the growth and the expansion and the new programs in Europe. And Dr. J, could you tell people where they can go to find out more about Kerala Ayurveda, please?
Yes. The best place to go is keralaayurveda.us website. We update website very frequently, and we want to be upfront, transparent, all. Our catalog of our certification program is, 90 plus pages. All the information upfront, very clear. Yeah. So I would recommend you to visit keralaayurveda.us. KERALAAYURVEDA.US. When you log in, there will be Academy, Wellness, and Product or Apothecary. Academy is for all the educational programs, including we offer a lot of free programs. Free webinars, free recording of the teachings are available. Then Wellness for wellness consultations and, and Panchakarma and bodywork techniques in Ayurveda. And the products or apothecary, it is for the Ayurvedic herbs and formulations. And to reach out to us, our main hub in America is in California, Milpitas, California, 691 South Milpitas Boulevard, Milpitas, California, 95035. And our phone number to reach, whether it is product or academy or wellness center, our number is 888-275-9103. If it is for academic programs, dial 10. If it is wellness center, dial 40 as extension. If it is for any supplements, products, oils, the extension is 30.
Wonderful.
So 888-275-9103.
Perfect. And I will put all that information in the show notes. So please go over to the show notes and check out all those links as well to get you over to Kerala Ayurveda US. Dr. J, I know you're a very busy person, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. And, thank you.
And also, I want to tell you, Colette, that this will be very interesting, that my first book is coming out.
Oh, excellent.
Okay. My first book is coming out soon, and it will be published in April. And it is a book on parenting.
Oh,
okay.
Excellent.
And the book name is The Parent's Complete Guide to Ayurveda.
I love it. That's great. We need to start young with the knowledge of Ayurveda. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
It is to guide parents to groom their children, based on Ayurvedic principles for children between the age of 3 and 16.
Oh, that's amazing. I've always said throughout the podcast, we need to start teaching children young, but not only to groom their children, but also to understand what constitution their child is, so that they can provide them with the right environment in which they can thrive.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Well, congratulations. It's very exciting. And I look forward to getting that book. Dr. J, thanks again. I appreciate your time, and thank you for everything you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Colette. I wish you all the best in your journey. And, this is the Thanksgiving time. I want to really thank you, not only for today's opportunity for me to speak on your podcast, but, representing the lineage of Ayurveda, and as a representative of the Ayurvedic tradition, I really want to thank you and, express my gratitude for joining in our mission of sharing Ayurveda with the world. And you have been doing a great job. Keep continuing. We are here to support, and it's a journey together.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I'm very humbled by that, and I appreciate it. And providing a platform to spread it. So that's great. We're all on a mission to spread Ayurveda, which is wonderful. Dr. J, until next time, take good care of yourself, and wishing a happy holiday season.
Thank you. Happy
Bye
holidays to everyone.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Dr. J and found the information helpful. If you think this information would be helpful to family or friends, please share it with them so we can spread this wisdom of Ayurveda. And please check out the link in the show notes for keralaayurveda.us. If you haven't already subscribed or follow the podcast, please do so wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you would like to rate and review it, I would really appreciate that. If you would like to check out my online services, consultations, cleanses, and educational programs, click on the link in the show notes or visit elementshealingandwellbeing.com. If you would like to join the Elements of Ayurveda community to continue the conversation, you'll also find that link in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.